It was well past midnight. The clock had pushed past 12, and somewhere in the distance, dogs were howling into the dark. Cutting through that silence, an old freight train came rattling into the platform of Hollow Creek Station and groaned to a stop. The station was so empty that even the sound of your own breathing felt too loud. Only one passenger stepped off, a man named Sam Carter. His hands were empty, and he looked exhausted and on edge. "Ugh, my back is killing me," Sam muttered to himself, rubbing his spine. "If this train had been on time, I'd have gotten here way earlier. As long as this medicine package in my pocket gets delivered safe and sound, I can head home in peace. Please, God, just let me get through tonight. This place doesn't feel right at all." Sam looked around. The station master's booth was dark, swallowed by shadows. Only a single yellow light flickered overhead, threatening to go out at any moment. Sam climbed down from the platform and started walking toward the exit. "My boss really knows how to pick the worst places to send people," he grumbled. "He told me there'd be a line of cabs waiting outside the station. There's not a single soul out here. How am I supposed to get to Pine Hollow now?" He stepped out of the station and onto a dirt road. The fog was so thick he could barely see where he was going. After a few minutes, he spotted a faint red glow up ahead. As he got closer, he realized it was an old roadside diner, just a shack, really, with a single bench out front where a man was sitting. Sam approached but stopped a few feet away. "Hey, excuse me, could you help me out?" The man behind the counter, an old-timer named Earl, looked up and stared at Sam with an odd, wary expression. "What's going on, son? Awfully late to be out here lost. What do you need?" "I'm not from around here, sir. I don't really know my way around. I need to get to Pine Hollow." "Pine Hollow? That's a long way from here, son. And how exactly are you?"
Midday, she was walking back to her truck, exhausted and empty-handed. "If only I had my own land," she muttered to herself, watching the flat Louisiana fields roll past her window on the drive home. "I could grow my own potatoes. Wouldn't have to beg anyone for anything." She was almost home when she saw it, just off the road, behind the old abandoned Whitmore property, a stretch of open land sitting completely unused. The soil looked dark and rich, the kind that farmers around here would have paid good money for. Nobody had touched that land in years. The old Whitmore house behind it had been empty since Carol was a child. Carol pulled over and got out, walking to the edge of the field and crouching down, picking up a handful of the dark soil and squeezing it in her palm. "This is perfect growing soil," she said quietly. "Nobody's using it. Nobody's been here in years." She stood up and made her decision. "I'll just borrow the land. Just for one season. Once my cart is running again and I have money coming in, I'll buy from the market like before. Just this once." What Carol didn't know, what nobody in Millfield talked about anymore because it had been so long, was that the land behind the old Whitmore property had been cursed. Over 100 years ago, a family had been murdered on that very ground, and the old stories said the soil had soaked up something dark that day that never left. People who had tried to farm it long ago had given up quickly, though they never said exactly why. Eventually everyone just stopped going near it altogether, and over the years people forgot the reason and only kept away out of habit. Carol planted her potatoes. Within just a few weeks, the crop came up faster than anything she had ever seen, thick green plants bursting up through the dark soil in neat rows, fuller and healthier than any potato plants she could remember. But when she went out to harvest the first batch, she stopped cold.
We'll learn what it feels like to wait, to be forgotten, to watch the ones you love suffer while you can do nothing. "Please," Tom begged, falling to his knees. "Please, I have a family. A son. Please." The woman's smile widened, revealing teeth too sharp, too many. "I know," she hissed. I've seen him. Little Sam. So full of life. No. No, please don't. But the woman was already gone. Vanished into thin air, leaving only the cold and the silence and Tom alone on his knees in the dirt. His truck's engine roared back to life on its own. Tom didn't waste a second. He scrambled into the truck and drove home as fast as he could, his hands shaking on the steering wheel, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. When he arrived home, the house was dark. Too dark. The porch light that his wife always left on was off. Tom ran inside, calling out for his wife, for Sam. The living room was empty. The kitchen was empty. He ran up the stairs, his footsteps echoing through the silent house, and threw open the door to Sam's room. Sam's crib was empty. The window was wide open, curtains billowing in a cold wind that shouldn't have been there. On the wall above the crib, written in something dark and wet, were 3 words, "Too late, Tom." Tom screamed his son's name. He searched every room, every closet, under every bed. His wife was nowhere. Sam was nowhere. The house was empty, cold, and silent. He ran outside into the backyard, screaming into the night, and that's when he saw it, through the trees at the edge of his property, a faint light. A lantern, swaying gently, leading deeper into the woods. Against every instinct, Tom followed it. The light led him deeper and deeper into the forest, the trees growing thicker, the air growing colder, until finally he came to a small clearing. And there, in the center of the clearing, was his wife. She was sitting on the ground, perfectly still, staring straight ahead with empty, glassy eyes. In her arms she held Sam.
He had mentioned to help her. She went to the closet. She returned with the garment bag. The woman's eyes lit up in a way that sent ice through Cassie's veins. She snatched the bag and clutched it to her chest. "Perfect. Now you go lie down. I'll be right outside watching over your dreams." A low laugh. "Don't worry about any bad dreams tonight. I'll be here." After midnight, Cassie began to dream. She stood in a field, completely dark, no stars. Her arms cradled an infant. Across the darkness, that figure from Dorothy's photograph loomed enormous before her, its eyes glowing like 2 hot coals. It reached out a hand. It took the baby and disappeared into the dark. Cassie screamed herself awake, soaked in sweat, heart slamming. Then the pain hit, sharp, twisting, low in her abdomen. "Mabel? Mabel?" No answer. Front door unlocked, hallway empty. The woman was gone. Cassie called Janet with shaking hands. Janet was at the door in under 3 minutes. "Hospital right now." "No. Listen to me first." Cassie gripped her arm. She told Janet everything. The photograph from Dorothy, the sour mill, the crying cats, the woman who came at 11 p.m. and took the wedding dress, the nightmare, the pain. Janet's face went through confusion, then recognition, then fury. Dorothy Vance. She exhaled slowly. "That photograph is not a guardian, Cassie. It's a curse object, an anchor for dark energy, bound to you and your pregnancy. And that woman tonight was sent by Dorothy. She used your wedding dress to finish the ritual. Janet, my baby, is going to be fine." Janet stood up. "Show me the photograph." She crossed the apartment and pulled it off the wall without hesitation. The moment she touched it, Cassie gasped with another sharp wave of pain. Janet didn't stop. She walked to the back door, stepped outside, set the photograph on the concrete, and lit a match. The paper caught fast, burned bright and orange, and Cassie's pain disappeared. Completely. Instantly. "It's..."
Jake turned around. "Danny." Nothing. Danny was talking into the phone, and whatever he was hearing made his face do something complicated and terrible. Jake reached out and put his hand on Danny's shoulder. His hand went through. He stood there for a moment with his hand in the space where Danny's shoulder should have been. Then he took it back and looked at it. "Danny," he said again, very quietly. "Danny, look at me." Haven't heard from him either. Danny was saying into the phone. "His mom called me 20 minutes ago. His phone is going straight to voicemail. I'm starting to get Danny stopped walking. His face had gone the particular pale of someone receiving news they already knew was coming. What do you mean they found his bike? Jake took a step back. Where? We're on Route 9. Danny's voice was very controlled now, the way voices go very controlled when there is too much happening on the inside. Miller's Creek Road. At the bottom of Ridgeline Hill. Okay, I'm coming. Danny ended the call and stood in his driveway for a moment. Then he put his face in his hands. Jake stood 5 feet away, in the dark, and understood. The truck coming around the bend. The rush of air as it passed. He had told himself he'd felt the mirror nearly clip his shoulder. He had told himself he'd yanked hard enough to the right. He hadn't. He hadn't looked back. He hadn't looked back because something in him had already known. The kickstand? The open kickstand dragging on the road for those first 100 yards, wearing through something it shouldn't have worn through. And then a curve, and a truck in the wrong lane, and Jake without a helmet. He thought about his mother standing in the doorway. Jake. He thought about her face. He sat down on the curb in Danny's driveway. It took a moment, but eventually he was able to sit on the curb, which was something, the solid concrete curb, and he sat there for a long time while Danny went inside and got his keys and... Jake turned around. Danny. Nothing. Danny was talking into the phone, and whatever he was hearing made his face do something complicated and terrible. Jake reached out and put his hand on Danny's shoulder. His hand went through. He stood there for a moment with his hand in the space where Danny's shoulder should have been. Then he took it back and looked at it. Danny, he said again, very quietly. Danny, look at me. Haven't heard from him either. Danny was saying into the phone. His mom called me 20 minutes ago. His phone is going straight to voicemail. I'm starting to get... Danny stopped walking. His face had gone the particular pale of someone receiving news they already knew was coming. What do you mean they found his bike? Jake took a step back. Where? We're on Route 9. Danny's voice was very controlled now, the way voices go very controlled when there is too much happening on the inside. Miller's Creek Road. At the bottom of Ridgeline Hill. Okay, I'm coming. Danny ended the call and stood in his driveway for a moment. Then he put his face in his hands. Jake stood 5 feet away, in the dark, and understood. The truck coming around the bend. The rush of air as it passed. He had told himself he'd felt the mirror nearly clip his shoulder. He had told himself he'd yanked hard enough to the right. He hadn't. He hadn't looked back. He hadn't looked back because something in him had already known. The kickstand? The open kickstand dragging on the road for those first 100 yards, wearing through something it shouldn't have worn through. And then a curve, and a truck in the wrong lane, and Jake without a helmet. He thought about his mother standing in the doorway. Jake. He thought about her face. He sat down on the curb in Danny's driveway. It took a moment, but eventually he was able to sit on the curb, which was something, the solid concrete curb, and he sat there for a long time while Danny went inside and got his keys and...
Home that morning, my tiny baby, alone. I decided, since these people made me suffer for my child, I would make them suffer for theirs. Ms. Parker listened quietly, then said, You have a mother's heart. Look at these children bleeding. If your baby were here, what would you want someone to do? Just like your child needs you, every one of these kids needs their parents. The witch stared at the crying children. Something shifted. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you for understanding. I think it's time to go. Wait, witch lady. Before you go, can you show us how the airplane works? The witch laughed softly. She gave them the most amazing aerial tour they'd ever imagined. All the children cheered. Then she disappeared, at peace. 5. The Bathing Witch of Maplewood. Maplewood Village, Tennessee was old-fashioned. No bathrooms, no proper roads, while every neighboring town had modernized. Every morning, the village women bathed in the river. 5 or 6 women were there one day. Where's Vera today? Sleeping, probably. That girl sleeps like the dead. I really don't like bathing out in the open like this. Me neither. But what can we do? A crow flew over and dropped something on Grace's head. Everyone burst out laughing. That's exactly why I hate bathing outside. Meanwhile, two town troublemakers Nate and Dale were hiding behind bushes, spying. Look at these women, man. Let's get closer. They moved forward, and the women spotted them. Sarah grabbed a bucket and smashed it over Nate's head. Shameless. Disgusting. We're reporting you. The women chased them. Dale grabbed Mandy's wrist. You want to bathe outside? This is what happens. Stop complaining. Nate pulled out a knife toward Grace's throat. Suddenly the sky turned dark. A storm rolled in, and in a whirlwind, a witch arrived, killed both men in an instant, and vanished. The women were confused. Who was this witch? The next day, Mandy told her husband, Mayor Steve. Those men,